recording.
Got it.
Woo! Okay, because I'm not going to edit this,
No,
Um,
no, I wouldn't
yeah,
expect you to.
no, it's way more fun if you don't. Yeah, all the bloopers get to stay in.
Yeah.
So, all right, good old Jane here, and yes, on this channel where we have conversations with parents, and it's all about thriving beyond separation, really. But I've been talking to a lot of parents who are struggling in their relationship, also who feel like separation might be the only option. So, that's also sort of an aspect that I like to dive into too. Everything relationship really is my passion. So, today I'm talking to the incredible Teena Ryan. And I want to find out more about what you do. Like in looking you up and in talking to you and getting to know you, it's like not your typical coach, which I love.
No. Well,
I
that's
love.
kind of it's a nice tagline, I think, because a lot of people in the coaching space have had bad experiences. They've paid a lot of money. They haven't seen a lot of results. And I very much like to focus on the human that I'm working with.
Yeah.
I know we're all souls here having a human experience, but helping them get to the bottom of things within themselves, or why they're attracting certain things into their businesses or into their lives on a repeated cycle. My main area that I love playing in is talking about toxicity. So whether that's toxicity to self, whether you're in a Karen, is so much louder than anything else that you can hear.
I've been there.
Yep, been there too. Or whether it's toxicity in relationships, it's communication breakdown. It can be in romantic relationships, and that's not necessarily saying that the person that you're with is narcissistic, or they've got other mental health issues which cause a whole gamut of problems. Or whether the toxicity is within your immediate family, or whether it's your best friend who appears to be beautiful on the outside, but the minute you turn around in another social setting, she's talking about you, or talking about your relationship problems, or talking about what you're not good at. She's not putting your best foot forward. Or even in a workplace where you'd have a boss and they're constantly undermining your ability to be the best version of yourself. Why do you continuously attract those type of people into your life? And loving to teach people how to use their intuitive abilities, right? Because trust me, everybody's got it.
Yes.
But so many of us act like Mr. Potato Head. So we walk around with our feet literally attached to our chins, and we don't tune in to all the signals that our bodies are giving us. So that's one of the things that I like teaching clients about, is just starting with little decisions about tea or coffee, or white wine or red wine, and seeing where they feel that decision in their body. So as we build in their ability to make more intuitive decisions, it then becomes easy. If someone says, would you like to collaborate with me on this project, or would you like to come on my podcast, or would you like to invest in my business, or I think you're really gorgeous, I'd like to marry you. So there's so many ways in which on paper, jobs, people, relationships, all of that stuff looks amazing, like it ticks all the boxes. But you walk into an environment and your hackles go up on the back of your neck, you get a really sick feeling in your gut. There's so many things that your body's telling you, no, like start putting the car in reverse and get out of there really, really quickly. But our mind keeps is trying to keep us limited and small, because that's a safe space in which we can play. But if we start leaning into the spaces that are uncomfortable and a bit fearful, that's when we get the expansion and the growth. So
because we're actually probably meant to be there in some way. And I love how, and you just touched on this just now, I love how our mind is actually not here to make any decisions at all. It's all about our body making the decisions, and really learning how, really, I guess, feeling into our own body, and getting to know how our particular body makes those decisions, or needs to make those decisions.
Different. Like I know the way I make choices is radically different to the way my two boys make choices. So when they were smaller, it used to really frustrate the the Jesus out of me.
Yes.
Because they couldn't make a decision in the now. And what I understand about them now is that when they make decisions, they've literally got to get on the Ferris wheel and they've got to ride the whole thing around before they can come to a decision. Whereas for me, it's instant. It's something that feels all juicy and gorgeous in my gut, and I'm like, yep, that's for me. Or it's definitely not happening.
Yes.
So once you kind of understand that about yourself, and when you're working with clients, once you get an understanding of how they make decisions, then it's much easier to talk through concepts and giving them the opportunity and the space to learn that also about themselves, because we've been structured for so long about use your brain. What's your brain telling you? Write that pros and cons list. Be very logical, be analytical about the job or the person that you want to get involved with, or anything that the house that you might want to go and live in. Be very strategic about how you go about things. But we're human beings. We're here to feel about what feels good. Like if you talk to people, how do you feel about that? I don't care what you think. I want to know how you feel about something. Because when you start to ask people those questions, they start to get a little bit like, it feels really uncomfortable.
Because we're not used to that, are we? Like, we're not taught that at all. Like, I actually remember my dad saying, you're going to have to do the right thing here. Okay. And the way you're going to know the right thing is to write a list. And just like you said, that pros and cons list, all the things that are good about this, all the things that are bad. And it's always about good, bad, right, wrong, black, judgments white, in the mind. Isn't it?
And the barricades between the two. And it doesn't allow for any grey, doesn't allow for any feeling into it and going, it looks really good, but it feels really yuck. Or it looks really bad and it makes zero sense. But you know what? It feels, it's lighting me up. It makes me really excited. I'm going to go for it. So it plays in both spaces. So that's what I love teaching clients. And when they have those light bulb moments and going, I don't have to push anymore. I don't have to feel like I'm grinding myself through my day. My day just feels a lot more free and flowing and easy, and all these things have started to pop in my lap, and I'm just going, yes, on the right path. Life is so good.
And that's the feminine way.
Absolutely.
This is what I've really started to lean into this and learn about this from a lot of different mentors recently. And I get the feeling this is something you're quite passionate about too.
Absolutely.
The feminine way of doing things, which is very different. So you work with women predominantly?
I have had some men that I've worked with sort of in terms of getting them to recognize. I think one guy I had a conversation with, and I just said, when shit is going wrong in your life, your body is going to start playing up. You'll get migraine headaches, you'll get gut aches, your knees will go, you'll have dodgy shoulders. Something in your body will be telling you that you need to cease something in your life. Something is not working well. And because I met him once at a networking event, and then a couple of weeks later, he came to me and he said, you were right. And, I have conversations with lots and lots of people, and I'm like, can you tell me what I was right about? And he said, I wasn't feeling well, and I've worked out why it was. And so he's gone through this whole, we keep in touch quite a lot, but he's gone through this whole journey of going, something wasn't right in my life. And then he's, the process he's gone through and removed the toxic elements from his life, and how free flowing everything is starting to be, because we have both masculine and feminine traits within us, whether we are guys or girls. And we can play in a space that is either wounded, it's everything's everybody else's fault, it's not my fault, I didn't do it, won't take any ownership for it. Or you play in a space where high five,
I'm human.
Or in a space where we take ownership and accountability, and we're responsible for each of the choices that we make, knowing full well they may not be the right choices, and we can make what I term as mistakes. So they're not, it's just you have a crack at something, might not be right, but you're learning something from it. So it might not be perfect, but there's a lesson in it for you. So if you look at it all the time and go, what do I need to take away from it? It might not have been a pleasant experience. What have I learned about myself, or the environment that I'm working in, or the person that I'm with? How can I communicate better? So there's always something in it that our soul needs for its development, and also as the human doing this 100-year stretch on the planet, that they need to also go through and process as well. So that's the joy that I get, is seeing people go from here to here and having that really big momentous shift. And you don't realize that, it's the stuff that you and I would do every day. They're just unconscious habits for us now. But for the people that come into our world, it's like, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that I didn't have to rush through my entire day. I didn't know that I could, make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a conversation ritualistic rather than routine and rushed. And when people start to do that, they go, oh, I feel so much better. I took 5 minutes, and it's in massive periods of time. It's literally jumping in the shower and putting your favorite music on and treating it as, a 5-minute spa experience where you love on yourself, rather than go,
I love that idea.
Quick,
I'm going to do that.
Quick. I've got to get in and get out.
Yes.
This is my time to start my day right, to center myself, to be in gratitude. I woke up this morning. It's one of my friends who's an energy healer. She said, that is my one thing I say every day in gratitude. Thank you for allowing me to wake up again. So that for me is in the shower and thinking, what am I grateful for? I'm here. My boys are healthy. My partner's, in a good space. Everything is good. And I am grateful for all that I'm about to receive on that day.
Yes, that's so beautiful.
It just changes your mindset up. And, if it's your favorite music, whether it be R&B or rap or country or whatever, stand in the shower and think you're a lead singer in your own rock and roll band. And
oh God, it's my favorite. That's my favorite thing to do. Sing and dance like no one is watching.
I know.
So even if the kids are in the house, whatever, they just think, oh God, what's mum into now? They put the headphones in, but whatever. But it works for me because I think that one of the biggest things I've learned is, yes, absolutely, gratitude is such a powerful thing. But also realizing that, going through a healing process, or if you want to call it healing process, or, doing the work, whatever it is, to sort of wake up to a different way of being that sort of is more in alignment with who you are, that feels good, that things are not always good. Like, life throws shit at you. You don't always feel good. But it's a lot about sort of regulating your nervous system and working with your body to I guess get into a state of regulation where you're not sort of in that fight or flight mode, going this way and that, which most of us are all the time, when we're not aware of what's happening. But when you really sort of start to, get into the body and listen to what the body is saying, you can really start to work with it. And it's not about feeling upset and then being calm all the time. It's not about being calm all the time, because we're not supposed to be. But it's just about, working with what's happening in your body and noticing it and allowing it and getting the wisdom from it, because there's so much wisdom in this beautiful vessel that we live in, right?
Yeah, but it's also too realizing that sometimes the emotions aren't ours. Sometimes they are the emotion of our children, or our partners if we live with them, or the people in the workspace, or you've gone for a family dinner and you feel great until you walk in the front door, and then all of a sudden you've got all this nervous, anxious energy moving through you, going, hang on a minute, I didn't feel like that 5 minutes ago when I was singing in the car. But it takes time to develop that sense within yourself that this isn't mine. I remember, being married in that last sort of probably the 8 years of my marriage, and feeling like Xena warrior princess every time my ex-husband came home. That I was ready for battle, you know, like I would be ready to shield my children and to, you know, make sure everything was perfect, and just to constantly, you know, running on adrenaline all the time. Because I didn't know what energy space he would be in walking through the door. You know, if he'd had a bad day at work, it just all got dumped on me because the house wasn't clean enough, or this wasn't done, or this bill wasn't paid, or you know, him taking zero responsibility for anything else other than going to work and making money. So there was no responsibility for doing his own washing or packing his own clothes away or cooking a meal or any of that sort of stuff. So he was, because he found fault within himself, he was finding fault within me. And you don't realize that in the situation. If someone had have pointed out to me before I left that this is all his stuff, it's also your stuff too, because you mirror backwards and forwards between each other. But as I was starting to grow, he was just constantly wanting to, you know, like when you feel like you're rising, you're expanding, and you're a balloon and you're about to sort of take off for some new adventure. Felt like he was the weights on the balloon basket, you know, just constantly yanking me back down, because he was fearful of what that would mean for his family, but he never articulated it that way. It was always you can't, or you're not good enough, or you're this, or you're that, or all of his own yuck got projected. And the problem is, when you're in it, you can't see it. When you're in it, you go, your inner Karen gets really, really loud.
Yes, because your body's responding in, you know, in a protective mode, you know.
Yeah, and normally it was his voice in my head, or his mother's voice in my head going, you know, you're not capable of being anything other than a wife and a mother. What makes you think you could run your own business? I was running a multi-million-dollar business at the time. But what would make you think that you could go out and earn more money than he could? You know, you don't have the capacity to do that. So
and you were taking on all of those thoughts as well, and thinking them, and not actually enjoying that success that you had.
No, we had a very successful business, which he still runs. But it was his passion. It was his love. It was just, for me, it was just a job, you know, and I hated every moment of it. It wasn't,
didn't light you up.
Didn't excite me. So, you know, you do learn so many things through relationships about who you are and who you're designed to be. And I'm no advocate for separation and divorce. It was the solution in my case, and it is the solution in many cases. For some people it's not. But everybody needs to intuitively be able to guide themselves as to what the next step is, what feels right. Don't go, oh, how am I going to support myself? What am I going to do? Don't do the thinking bit. What feels right? And for me, it didn't feel right to show my kids that this is what a loving relationship looked like. It didn't feel right to me for my kids to grow up to think that I did everything. That, you know, I was the person that cleaned the house, did the washing, did all the cooking, did all the gardening, did all the stuff, did all the shuttling of children from place to place to place to place, organised all the holidays, you know, did all the grocery shopping, did all the shopping for birthdays and Christmases and picking gifts and organising where we were going for dinner. And I didn't want them to see that as normal. I wanted them to be able to witness what an equitable partnership looked like. But before I could allow them to witness that, I had to turn in here.
A relationship that felt good for you.
Good, and
which
I had
is the
to feel
key
good
thing,
about
right?
me.
You show them how to then connect with someone that's right for them.
Correct.
Not to put up with stuff that's not right. But so what was it that helped you to leave in the end? Was it courage? Was it something else?
It's a funny thing, because I kept asking girlfriends all the time about, you know, when am I going to, pardon my French, when am I going to reach
you can
my
swear.
child?
You can swear on this channel.
okay, when am I going to hit my shit tolerance level? You know, I could feel it visually in my mind. I could feel it, you know, like it had hit my chin, and then it would cover my mouth, and then it was over my nose, and it was over my eyes, and it. For me, it was more an intuitive voice. Like she would wake me in the middle of the night. She'd keep going, you need to move. This is not the right space for you.
Yes.
And when it came down to the final crunch, he came in and he was just going full flight at everybody because Christ knows what it was about. I think my youngest boy, who's a jokester and wants to have fun, and he'd missed his dad and he wanted to play around, and his father wasn't in any mood. And his dad just turned on him, and I just went, we're done. But it wasn't a conscious thought for me. It just literally came up out of my belly and straight out my mouth. We're done. And he looked at me and I went, I'm done. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, I want a divorce. We're done. And then it was like, oh my Lord, the drama. You can have everything. You can have the business. You can have all the bills and all the stress and all the And I went, okay. I was quite prepared to run a multi-million-dollar business, you know, being a single parent and handling all the bills and all, because I'd done it. And it would mean that I didn't have to carry his weight. And then the next day,
it could feel like that.
The problem was because he utilized alcohol as a crutch, he didn't remember the conversation the next day. So then, you know, I took time out of my day the next day to go and see a lawyer. Like I was just like, I don't think I've ever been more decisive in my life.
You listen to that voice inside you.
Absolutely. And then he's messaging me going, where are you? I said, I'm at a lawyer's office. What are you doing at a lawyer's office? I said, I'm finding out what I'm legally entitled to. We're getting a divorce. And that was a 5-year battle. Actually took 5 years for us to become officially divorced, financially settled. I tried to be amicable. I endeavored to do the right thing because I thought it was right for my kids to try and maintain some sort of, you know, cohesive relationship, not necessarily a friendship, you know, that sort of thing. But he just took advantage of that because he just kept stretching it out and stretching it out and oh, but you know, we can't do that because of the business. We can't do that because of the business, and you know, just kept stretching the whole thing out for such a long period of time. And it wasn't until I got really serious and engaged another lawyer, because the first one didn't work out for me. Engaged another one, and then because he was trying to get me to sign a binding financial agreement without going through the court system. But I took it to a lawyer and she said, you're getting railroaded. No, don't do that. And then I said to him, I'm not doing a BFA. We're going to go through and do it legally through the court. So that's what I ended up doing. And yes, it cost a lot of money. But in the end, it made it very clean. He was held accountable and responsible for paying, and he tried to delay the final payment. I got back in contact with my lawyer. She got back in contact with him and said, you are due to pay this money, or your ex-wife has the right to go and sell the family home. Do you wish to sell your family home? Strangely enough, the money turned up.
Interesting. I had a very long drawn out court process myself, like 6 years as well. I had ABOs and all kinds of stuff too, but you know, everyone has their own experience, and I just wanted to highlight your experience seems to be similar to mine, and it's similar to a lot of people, I think, where the court system is absolutely adversarial and doesn't foster mending relationship or anything like that. And I think that's, you know, kind of deplorable. I'd love to see that change at some point, but like for me, as I'm hearing it was for you too, it can be a really helpful barrier, like almost like a boundary that you may not be ready to or able to put in yourself.
Yes.
For me, I left an abusive relationship, so I had barrages of abuse on every kind of communication mechanism, you know, people coming to my door, all kinds of stuff. So I had to, you know, get AVOs and, you know, block everything and just do it through the court system. So it allowed me the space to be able to deal with the things like the financials and the logistics around the kids and stuff like that, and give myself the space to just reflect and work through things and process on my own. Yeah, as much as you can do with 2 kids, right? On your own, on your own. But
look, you know, I mean, in terms of our kids, we were pretty good. Like, you know, like it would be week in, week about.
Great.
It was just he is
That's a blessing.
exceptionally financially driven, money driven. So he had the concept he was being robbed. Like, he didn't see the value in the work that I provided in my raising of the children, running the household, doing all of those sorts of things. Like, he didn't see a financial benefit.
No, I can't imagine he would.
in that. So it wasn't necessarily for us about our kids. Our kids had made some choices in that process. At one stage, I had my oldest boy full-time for 18 months because there was a fallout between him and his dad. And now I have my youngest son full-time because there was a very similar, like, cyclic pattern.
Interesting.
So I have my youngest now full-time and he's nearly 15. So whether that changes, I'm allowing him to make that choice. That's not for me to decide whether he goes back to his dad. I'm allowing him to stretch his own emotional muscles. And, you know, can you handle that situation? Do you want to handle that situation? Because I know for his energy, being with his dad depletes him energetically. And so it would be, he'd go to school all week with his dad and it'd all look perfect. And then he'd come home to me and he would literally be like a balloon that had had all the life sucked out of it. You know, and then it would take 3 days for him to essentially build back up. And then go to school for 2 days. And then it was like, why won't he go to school with you? It's obviously an issue that you've got. And he wasn't a person to understand energetics. So it wasn't a conversation you could have with him in explaining, your energy is really draining, my energy is quite nurturing and fulfilling and fills him back up again. So after being with you and having to wear a mask of the good child and doing all the right stuff, for him it was literally like trying to be somebody he wasn't.
And it can be very you know, I'm right, you're wrong as well. And because I found owning that in myself, to say, oh, okay, I'm doing that too. I'm saying I'm the good one, you're the bad one, was really tough. But then you know, both sides are doing it. It's like, well, I'm doing this right and you're doing that wrong. And it's again, it's about the right and wrong, good and bad. It's actually, we all have different ways of doing things, but you know, it's about connecting with the other person and connecting with your child, you know, in particular. And
getting them
children
to understand what's good for them. You know, what makes you feel good, what space do you feel safe,
that's
and
beautiful,
and happy within. You know, and I said to him, the choice is completely yours. If you want to go and spend more time, I'm more than happy for you to do that. You know, but you have to be in a space energetically where if someone comes at you, you can hold your own and go, that language is not okay, that behavior is not okay. When you're ready to talk like a normal human, then I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. But if you're being aggressive or abusive or you know, speaking to me like, you know, I'm of little value, then no, I'm not going to continue this conversation. I'm actually going to walk out of the room now. You know,
That's such a powerful thing to teach your children, you know, to be able to stand their ground, like you said, and, you know, actually say, I don't let anyone speak to me like that. You know, if you're willing to relate to me in a way that's respectful, great. But until then, I'm sorry, I don't let anyone speak to me like that. And you just, so teaching kids how to do that is such a powerful thing, Tina. My goodness.
Emotional intelligence and recognizing that their dad, although he's 53, he has some areas that he hasn't done the work and they have. So it shows.
Yes, just because you have a particular age doesn't mean you've actually matured to that age.
No, and unfortunately, their dad comes from the space of, I'm the parent, I'm the authority, I'm in charge, and I know what's best.
Yes.
There isn't a lot of room to say, well, I'm 14 and I've got some wisdom behind me.
Yeah,
I've had some
interesting.
experience in my life. Sure, I don't have 53 years worth of experience, but I still have some experience, which I think is valid and relevant for my journey.
Yeah.
So why can't you trust me to make a good decision for myself? You've instilled features and benefits within me as a human. Why can't you rely on me to do the, sure, I'm a teenage boy and I'm probably going to do really stupid shit. However,
it's my journey.
Most of the time, I'm in a space where I do make smart decisions.
Yes,
and if I don't make a smart decision, then I have to own the consequences.
That's right. It's my journey. Yes, that's the thing. And you have to, and kids have to have the opportunities, is my firm belief, to have those experiences where they, sorry, I was going to say F up. Can I swear? I don't know. I haven't been on YouTube that long yet, haven't been. But yes, where they stuff up and they get it wrong, and they learn from that. And that's powerful when they do that. Whereas when you constantly try and, tell them what's right or wrong, and they do it or don't do it out of fear of what you might say or think, or, if they don't do it because they're terrified they might get it wrong or something like that, then if they don't go out and have those experiences, then they don't actually mature in the way that they could.
And I think that's one of the biggest things, like, I've always said to my boys, if you stuff up, own it. And I said it's the quickest way to take the heat out of a situation.
Yes.
And my son had a situation in primary school. He was like 11, I think, at the time.
Yes.
Where they'd had some bullying issues with a couple of kids, but this one particular boy was quite rude and aggressive, and Darcy'd had enough and sort of put him back in his place, but it would have not been seen very well. And so the deputy principal calls him in, and all the other kids are there and they're crying and I didn't do anything. And the principal comes around to my child and he goes, well, did you do it? And he went, yeah, I did. And he was like,
and his wife,
Mum, you should have seen him. His eyes looked like they were out on stalks, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. And he asked me the same question again. I said, why did it? He was acting like a fool. And so I think the schooling system is always looking for children to lie, to get themselves out of a situation. Their expectation is for children of that age to lie. And when you come across a child...
Don't get me started on the school system.
Oh, it's not my favourite topic either, but anyway.
I think it needs to be spoken about though, Teena. I think we need to do record another conversation one day about that. Because I think it needs to be spoken about. Yeah, things that you want to change, you got to speak about. That's my feeling.
Yes. So, I think that taught him a very powerful lesson, in that when you own something, people can't come at you. They can't, you're a liar and I know you did it and did it. It's like, yeah, I know I did it. I did it for a really good reason.
Yeah. It's empowered.
But there's no defense mechanism for them to come back at you and, have a go at you. It ceases the conversation and going, okay, so what are you going to give me? I've done it. I've owned it. What are you going to give me?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, wow. Gosh, that's parenting, isn't it? Teaching two young men who you have to how to be in the world. So when we first,
it's not easy.
No. No, I've got a girl and a boy, but a preteen and a teen, and no, it's not easy. Sometimes it's effing hard. However, this is the job and this is what we do, and just constantly building a relationship and connecting with them is what I focus on, and that gets me there every time. But I'm really interested to talk a little more about your experiences with raising two young men. And you said in our conversation last, without a strong male role model.
Yeah, I just for me, because my deal with my boys had always been, I'm here to teach you about being loving and caring and empathetic and all the nice, juicy, soft stuff, that it's not my role to teach you what it is to be a man, because I'm not a man, so I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I can teach you certain things, but I can't necessarily teach you how to hold space for a woman. I can't teach you how to, be bold and brave and all the things, I can from a feminine perspective, what my masculine side tells me, but I can't from that perspective. So for me, it was trying to choose friends within my friendship group that my boys related to or they felt comfortable with, in encouraging, I want to pop over and say hello, go have a cup of tea, do those sorts of things. But I was very conscious not to go, I don't need a man, men are useless, men are this, because I'm raising two men. I can't put that out in the universe and then have two young men growing up going, well, mum doesn't need a man, so therefore it means I'm superfluous.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's a belief anyway, right?
Yeah. Well,
is that true?
But didn't want that as a thought process. I just, for me, it was about finding good people. And when I had spent a lot of time and spent like 18 months, nearly 2 years on my own, doing a lot of work, a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, a lot of healing, a lot of reading, a lot of listening to podcasts, a lot of solo time to just try and figure out what my part in it was, in terms of the relationship. And then when I said to them, thinking about maybe dating again, and they were like, oh, how are you going to do that, Mum? I said, online dating seems to be the way that you have to kind of go. And I said to them, I know the type of person that I'm looking for. What are you looking for? I said, because if I invite somebody in, they're going to be as much in your space as they are in mine. So I wrote a list, and then they told me stuff that they had wanted. Speaking of one child, excuse me, I'm just on a call. Can I talk to you later? What do you need? Yes, I can do that later for you, my son. Easy.
That's cool.
So it was just asking them all those questions, my eldest boy went, he has to be able to clean up after himself, and he has to be able to cook a meal, and he has to be fun to be with, and he has to be sporty, and he has to ride a motorbike. I don't know why that was very important, but it was important at the time.
Don't you think about dating someone who doesn't ride a motorbike, all right?
Well,
but that's beautiful, though.
I'm here to tell you, when the list was folded up and it was stuck in my journal, and I started doing the online dating thing, and I met a man that kind of floated my boat, if that's the nicest way to put it.
Gotta float your boat.
I had moved a couple of months after I'd met him, and I found the journal, and that piece of paper had kind of popped out of the journal, and I went through it, and I went, yep.
Oh, that's interesting. I love how that works.
So there was just about, I think, like 98% of it was, I think the only thing they really got wrong was the type of motorbike that he rode.
Wow, that's amazing. So I hope it was a Harley.
Well, no, he rode a Suzuki, and I must say they're not the most comfortable bikes to be a pillion passenger on. I got used to it, but for me, I would much prefer to be able to sit back and just relax and not have to be perching up like I'm on, like a bird on a perch. It was not the best fun, but it was good.
But that first thing that you said, he floated your boat, like he felt right. Yes? Like that's the thing, isn't it?
But I think it's also
it's not about whether they have blue eyes or even ride a motorbike or anything like that. I mean, the fact that all of those things you just put out there and that came to you that's a whole nother conversation. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to how does this person make you feel? How do you want to feel when you're in
Yeah,
relationship with someone?
correct. And for me, it was I was used to my ex-husband and his family being dramatic, and there was always some drama and some person doing this and some person doing that. And what do you think of it?
Yes.
I don't care. Like,
When you
it
say
does
drama,
not.
you mean judgment, right? Is that that's what I'm
Yes,
hearing?
but chaos. Like, there
Yeah,
was
okay.
always some challenge or family problem, or someone was in trouble, or someone wasn't doing what the family expected them to do, or
Yes.
there was always something going on. Like, there
Yeah,
was never
yeah.
any like ease and grace and peace and harmony and just
Yeah, okay.
live and let live kind of attitude. And
Yes.
when I met my partner, it was like literally just this like calm, easy conversation flowed. There was none of that butterfly in the stomach kind of, everybody says, oh, when you meet them, you feel all butterflies in the stomach. I felt chilled, like
Yeah.
I had partaken in a little bit of a cigarette. It's not a cigarette. Very, very, very calm.
Yeah, interesting.
And I had rung a girlfriend and I said to her, what is it about emergency service workers? And she said, they just have this very easy, calm, quiet demeanor about them. They know how to hold space. You feel very safe, very comfortable, very
Yeah,
at
wow.
ease with them. And it was just like, oh, it took a long time for my nervous system to regulate itself to a point
Yes,
where
I can relate to that.
I wasn't, waiting for the shoe to drop, or some,
Yes.
for him to go, no, this isn't what I want, or,
Yes.
just to feel comfortable and at ease within the relationship. That just, like, I knew, like, feeling wise, intuitive wise, that was what it was. But my body just took some time to really catch up with, this is the right human for you. He's always been the right human for you.
Yes.
You both needed to traverse your own soul journey to get you to this point, because I've had conversations with him where I said, you wouldn't have liked me very much if you'd met me 10 years ago. Why is that? I said, I was getting complete control freak, absolute nutbag in needing to know exactly where everything was, every step, every move, every this, every that. And that for me was a trauma response, which I didn't realize at the time. And now, because I understand it, I'm in the feminine receivership and surrender. And like as Gabby Bernstein says, when you think you've surrendered, you need to go a bit further. You need to surrender more.
But you can see it for what it is, like, and you can, potentially have some compassion for him at the same time and go, oh, wow, it's a trauma response that he's having. And wow. And this is not something I want to be around, because that doesn't work for me. So it's like 100% compassion, firm boundaries, right?
And I think the thing is too, when you're entering into a new relationship, you are in that space of, you're desperate for it to work and to feel loved and to, your boundaries.
There's so much around that too, isn't there?
Your boundaries can be a little bit wobbly, and we had one instance where I very firmly put them in place, and then then on, it's been amazing. But it wasn't until I said, this isn't okay by me. If you continue with this behavior, this isn't okay. And it wasn't something hideously bad. He was just trying to placate everybody. And by placating everybody, he was pleasing nobody.
And that's a trauma response in itself, isn't it?
and particularly me. And I just went, I'm not in it for shits and giggles. I'm here because I desire to be here, and I know that you're the right person for me. So if that's not the same response for you, well, then we need to have a conversation.
Wow, that's powerful. That can be hard to do. And we need to do another whole conversation about this. And I think we need to wrap up today as well.
I know.
We've had such an amazing, I've loved talking to you, Teena. such an amazing journey that you've had, and yeah, just the stuff that comes out. We've got to do another one. Let's book another
Oh,
one
look,
sometime.
absolutely. Yeah, would
We've talked
love
about so much
to.
today, and I'm going to put details below this video in the description about how people can get in touch with you to potentially
Fabulous.
work with you, chat with
That,
you. I
that
don't
would be
know,
great.
just get in
Yeah.
touch with you in some
Yeah.
way.
Yep,
In
absolutely.
the details. So I'll grab all of that from you so I can do that. But thank you so much.
Fantastic.
I really, really, really appreciate
It
everything that
was
you've said today. And yeah, I learned a
it was
heap from that.
fabulous.
I don't know about everybody else, but yeah, I love hearing people's experiences, and it just adds to what I know and adds to the wisdom that I have.
Yep,
And that's why I'm doing this channel.
yep. Because as a community,
Fantastic.
we grow.
Yes. Fantastic, beautiful woman. All right.
All right.